Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm using these two palettes to do this eyeshadow look. I put on these earrings today knowing that they didn't really match my shirt, and I had hoped that my eyeshadow look would bridge the gap. So I think I achieved that, and I think it's really pretty. If you're new here, hey, my name is Rachel, and I really enjoy playing with colorful eyeshadow. I have little children, so I don't get to upload quite as many videos as I would like, but it's still a couple videos a week. I hope you'll consider liking and subscribing if this is the sort of thing that you enjoy watching. Alright, I'm going in to prime my eyes. I have the Glamlight Icing Primer. I actually have this in two different colors. This is the shade White Frosting. The other color I have is Buttercream, which is more my skin tone. The reason I'm using White Frosting is because it's lighter and it's going to give a nice bright base for the colors that I'm using today, which are a green fading into a light blue. So I want the bright blue to really pop. Therefore, I'm putting it over a light base. Everything that I'm using is linked down below in the description box, as always. I try to put as much information down there as I can for you guys. Now, I mentioned the colors I wanted to use. These are the palettes that I'm going to use. I have the Lure palette from Blend Bunny. Most of the colors are coming from here, but I pulled this one. This is the Saga Freya Cat's Breath from Uden's Eye, and I want to grab an inner corner highlight from here. So I almost always do my eyeshadow with a dark outer corner and then like a light shimmer. That's my standard aesthetic. That's my go-to. I really like that style for myself. Sometimes I do a halo eye, but once in a while I want to do something that's just different because it's fun. So for today's look, I'm actually going to do, I guess it would be considered a smoky eye, but it's not my standard smoky eye technique either. It's just starting with the darkest shade at the lids and working lighter and lighter from there. So I will tell you, of course, what I'm doing, and let's zoom in and get started. I'm going to start with a dense blending brush into the shade 332 meters. I remember when this palette was released, the owner of Blend Bunny mentioned something about the name of this shade. I'm putting this at my lower lash line. She talked about the significance of this name, and I don't remember what it is. Now I feel kind of bad. It was something about maybe that's as deep as you can go, like as deep as humans can go, or as deep as they can go with certain equipment, or as deep as certain animals live. I'm not sure. But if you're curious, you should definitely check out Blend Bunny's Instagram page and scroll back a little bit until you find when the Lure palette was released. There's actually a photo with a close-up of the shade 332 meters. Speaking of Blend Bunny, I'm taking one of their smaller brushes. This is the B2. I had grabbed a set of their brushes. They were selling some on sale because they had a faulty adhesive in the ferrules. It's a quick fix with super glue, so it really didn't bother me. And honestly, high quality brushes with a small defect are still better than the cheap Amazon or Morphe set that I've been using, so I wasn't going to complain. This brush is a little bit looser, but it's also much smaller, so it can get right here at my inner corner. Anyway, they were selling their defect brushes at BOGO and half off, so I ordered one. I paid half the price, and I got two sets. So I was pretty excited about that. I'm just going to take this same brush, I guess. Why not? Keep working with it. I'm going to go into the shade Mermaid Lagoon. You will notice what I'm doing is I'm starting with the darkest and I'm going lighter and lighter and lighter from there. So Mermaid Lagoon is a green matte. It's kind of like a grass green. I'm going to put that here and just blend it into the blue that I just laid down and go a little bit higher on my lid space. I have been enjoying this palette. I think it's really beautiful. I was so tempted so many times. If you are one of my friends with whom I chat regularly on Instagram, you know I had gone back and forth and back and forth and back and forth 100 times over buying the Ace Beauté Envy palette, which was part of their Cosmic collection. They released the Aura and the Envy. The Envy palette is everything. It's so beautiful. And if I bought it, it would replace my Oceanic palette, which is a beautiful blue-green palette. But man, I'm taking the same brush. I've cleaned it off and I'm going into, I think I'll take Seafoam and put this as the next layer. I couldn't quite justify buying Envy because of the price point, because I have Oceanic, because I have Lure, and because I have several other palettes in my collection which really do give me some beautiful blues and greens. But there was something about that palette, man, it was so hard to resist. I'm using this shade to finish covering my entire lid space. So I've got the three shades on my lid. I'm just working them together. And then I'll pick another color. Anyway, it was hard to resist that palette. And then they had sales and they were sending me emails and then they texted me. They're like, hey, you left a product in your cart. Here's an additional code so you can get more money off. It was, I was really struggling resisting that particular palette, but I finally decided, no, I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to get it because I have the Lure palette and it's great. Now I'm going back into each of the 3 colors, just one at a time until I have a blend that I like. Sorry, I really need chapstick. My lips are dry. This is the Juicy Balm from Essence. One of my subscribers sent this along with a couple palettes, and it's really nice, actually. It's not really a lip oil. It's a little bit thicker, but it's not as sticky as a lip gloss. It's just very smooth. Anyway, I haven't taken the time to see if all of the shades within Envy are represented in this Lure palette. And I know for sure that, you know, like the mustardy and brown tones are not represented here, but I have them elsewhere. It is close enough. It is close enough. I don't need the palette, even though it's beautiful. That's something that I have to keep telling myself. Like, yes, it's pretty. There are so many pretty things, but I don't need them all. I don't need to own every pretty thing. Just don't. And I really do have to tell myself that more often than I'd like to, but it is what it is. This is the Blend Bunny B1 brush. It's larger and looser, and I'm going into Lost at Sea, which is the lightest of the blue mattes. And I'm putting this on the edge now of Sea Foam. You can probably tell I'm trying to match my earrings. I am finally in my life moving away from everything being matchy-matchy. I'm trying to learn how to bring in an earring color that doesn't exactly match my shirt, something that works or is slightly different, that, you know, it still catches the eye, it's not too jarring. I'm working on that, and I honestly think that working with eyeshadow has helped fuel that, because when I got into eyeshadow, red shirt, red eyeshadow, green shirt, green eyeshadow. But then the more I watched Angelica Nyqvist, the more I saw, oh, she's wearing a red shirt and blue earrings, and she's doing pink eyeshadow. So I started to learn, you don't have to match all the time. And honestly, if you don't match all the time, it can be kind of fun because it's different. It's a new color added into your outfit. You know, they might not be matchy-matchy, but they work as an ensemble. So when I put this shirt on, it's very murky, it's very grungy. It's not really the best color for me, but I like the fit. The color's okay. I like to dress up the color of the shirt by putting on more colorful eyeshadow that does fit my skin tones a little bit more. But anyway, I put on these earrings and I thought the gold definitely works. And then this bright turquoise, I don't know. Let's see what I can do with it. So that's my goal for today's eye look, is to bring in some of the deep green to work with the shirt and then bring in turquoise to match my earrings. For the lower lash line, I'm going to go in reverse order. I might not include all the shades, but I'm going to start with the light blue, Lost at Sea, and just sweep that. This is the lightest shade, obviously, so it's going to be the one that can take up the most space. I'm not too worried about bringing it too far down because I have a new hack that I want to try. But let me get these colors placed first. Slightly smaller brush into Mermaid Lagoon. Just putting that in a, you know, closer to the lashes than the blue. And I don't think I'll bring this all the way in. I think I'll leave this only on the outer half or so. I don't like to have depth of color over here. Now with a smudger brush, I'm taking 332 meters and placing this right up against my lashes. Again, in a smaller area, more like a third of the lower lash line as opposed to half. And I'm also going to dip back into that same color and just run it along the top lashes as well, because this is, in fact, the color I began with. So I'm re-intensifying right at the lash line. So let me tell you about the hack. I saw Angela Bright do this recently in one of her videos using the new Udensai palettes, actually. And I had tried it when I was using a palette that offered it to me, but I hadn't really thought about it as a staple technique within my toolkit. The hack is that if you use a skin-colored powder, a setting powder, it doesn't even have to be an eyeshadow, just something that's your skin tone, you can use it to blend out shadows. I've got the Naughty palette from BH Cosmetics. This shade right here, it's called Meringue. On me, this is basically an eyeshadow eraser. It is pretty much my skin tone, and it's so pigmented that it essentially erases or really, really downplays the color I've laid down. So I'm taking a larger blending brush and dipping into Meringue. I'm going to put this under my brow bone to start with, because I just want to use it to soften even more whatever shade I've got going on up here. Again, you don't have to use an eyeshadow for this. You can just use a setting powder you have. Now I'm taking that same shade and putting it under my eyes. I don't like it when my under eye has too much color. I think that's the next fine-tuning thing I'm doing for myself, is just less of a thick layer of color under my eyes. So much of it's a matter of your face shape and your own personal aesthetic. It's just me. If you don't know, I'm doing a project called Palette Pull-In. There was a palette that was randomly selected for me out of my collection, and I'm just working my way through each of the shades in consecutive order. So whatever shade is next in the list, it has to be incorporated into my eye look. However, I have reserved the right to not do my palette pull-in if I don't want to, or if I think it's gonna really mess up my eye look, because at the end of the day, it's just a personal project, and if I don't want to use that shadow, I'm not going to. I have only skipped it once so far, and today I'm gonna skip it again. I'll show you why. I'm using the Through My Eyes palette from ColourPop. The next shade is actually the last one in the palette because I've used all these others. This shade is called Misbehave, and it's a beautiful color, but it's not something that I want to incorporate in today's eye look because it's just not the vibe I'm going for. I'm going to take a small blending brush, actually a small flat brush. I'm going into the Saga Freya palette, and I'm taking the shade Cat Star, which is a blue and white marble shadow. I'm going to load up my brush and then I'll spray it, because this is going to be my inner corner highlight. I thought about using one of the shimmers in the Lure palette, but they were too foiled, too high shine. I wanted something that was lighter. And then I thought about getting the multi-chrome from the Udenzai Flora Story palette, but that one it had a good amount of pink shift to it, and I didn't want to go pink. I wanted to keep this color story. So I've laid this down quite nicely on my inner corner, and then whatever's left on the brush, I'm going to put under my brow bone. Because why not? Okay, here we go. Here's how it all turned out. Let me tell you what I did to finish it off. In my waterline, I used a ColourPop Creme Gel Liner in the shade Aglow. They recently reformulated these to make them waterproof, and I did see that on their website that they have this color available now. So I thought it was limited edition, maybe not. On my lips, I have these two shades. This is ColourPop Glowing Lip in the color Tickled Pink. This is the NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Cinnamon Roll. So I put down Tickled Pink, and then I thought, it works nicely with the eyes, but not with the shirt, so I put the brown on top of it to mix it up a little bit. On my face, I put on the Tulum palette from BH Cosmetics for a bronzer, and then for a highlighter, I actually took this palette from ColourPop. This is the Child. It was their first palette with Star Wars collab, and I dipped my finger first into Right Hand Mando, and then I took Sipping Soup, and I just tapped them onto my cheekbone. Hopefully you guys can see there's a bit of a green shift there. I really just wanted a green highlighter, honestly, and I don't have any in my collection, so I thought, if I can just find a really light, very sagey green sort of shimmery shadow that doesn't have too much chunky glitter in it, that would work. So that's what I did, and I think it's pretty. I have mascara on. As you can see, I did a winged eyeliner. Again, everything on my face is linked down below in the description box. I hope you've enjoyed this look. I am at the point now where I'm pretty content with my general application skills, but now I want to really start honing them in, because the more I wear eyeshadow, the more I say, okay, I really like this, but not so much as this, or I really want this element, but I don't want it to be blown out quite as far. So it's really a matter of tailoring more and more and honing into what I really like. I think the look is really pretty. It's just this look, I think I would prefer for the lower lash line to be raised a bit higher, where I don't have the color as far down. I don't know, that's just my own face, my eye shape, my personal preferences. Let me know in the comments what you think. I hope you've enjoyed this look. I appreciate you being with me. Remember to like and subscribe if you want to see lots more content. I will upload as many videos as I can, depending on the children's naps. And I'll see you guys again in my next video. Bye!